So, the complex problem that I will be doing my presentation on is human trafficking. I've been researching a lot about this throughout the semester. Um, the main audience that I want to focus on throughout this presentation is mainly teenagers and also young adults. I think it's important for them to become aware of this issue. First things first, a little background about human trafficking. It's the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some labor or commercial act. Every year, millions of men, women, and children are trafficked worldwide, including here in the United States. And one thing about trafficking is usually victims will not ask for help. It's estimated about 27.6 million victims worldwide at any given time are going through human trafficking. Um, they consider human trafficking victims as they describe them as slaves. They would be today's slaves because they are used not only as sex workers, but also labor and other things like that. The two main types of trafficking are forced labor and sex trafficking. And the US law nor the international law requires a trafficker or victim to move across a border for trafficking to be taking place or a human trafficking offense to take place. So, the main targets for human trafficking, traffickers look for people who are easy targets for a variety of reasons. And these are some of the reasons listed here: physiological or emotional vulnerability, economic hardship, lack of social safety net, natural disasters, or political instability. Um, human traffic targets, they're usually all ages, all backgrounds, nationalities. um they use people for their own personal gain, and this just includes people who look vulnerable, who are struggling in their life, maybe someone who is alone. That's also how a lot of human traffic incidents happen, is you people are getting taken when they are just by themselves. I know there was something recently happening in my city where the human traffickers were putting a ribbon or money on a car, and that would distract the person getting in their car. They would try to untie the ribbon or look at the money, and that would give them enough time to take that person. They would prey on, usually around here, it was said that they would prey on women who were alone and looked vulnerable. So if they my local Kroger was one spot, and it actually happened to my sister. Someone tied a ribbon on her car door handle, and she came back out after purchasing her stuff, and this worker was standing next to her car, and he asked if she had put the ribbon on there, and she said no. And he said, okay, I've heard a lot of stuff about people doing this to especially young women in order to get them for human trafficking. And my sister was shocked, and she came home and told all of us, and we had no idea that it was happening. That was the first time we heard about it. And then I saw a bunch of people posting on social media, like, be like, watch out for this and stuff. It's also a good thing not to like park far away if you're alone to go into a store, because that would make it easier for the person to like snatch you up. But those are just some types of targets or examples that have happened, especially from my own personal experience. So, some methods that are used, traffickers might use the following methods to lure victims into trafficking situations. This includes violence, manipulation, false promises of well paying jobs, and romantic relationships. Um, Trafficking can take place if a person also consents. So this could also include prostitution, or if someone wants to work under the table to earn more money, they are consenting. They're not exactly sure what they're consenting to, but they're consenting to these jobs or labor. Um, the false promises of well paying jobs is actually a common way that traffickers use to lure people in. This also includes not only scams, but people just messaging people, trying to get a rise out of them, and This usually, we have a lot of people at my job actually who will come in and buy gift cards for scammers. And then that scammer wants to meet up so they can exchange, and they are promised more money in return. So that's one of the ways that human traffickers could obtain their victims. So, who are the traffickers? Meaning, in what relation could the traffickers be to you? This one actually surprised me a little. Obviously, strangers are probably a big one that people will just they won't know the person that is trafficking them. Um, the acquaintances and family members actually surprised me a bit because I didn't realize that even family members could traffic their own family. I think that was very surprising to me because I always just thought it was just strangers picking up other people, but in some cases it is family members and people that you even know. They also could form a relationship with you, like acquaintances, and that would be their end goal, is to traffic you. And I've also heard of some instances, like it said mentioned on the previous slide, like a romantic relationship could be one of the methods they use to lure you in. And I've heard of cases where men and women, they get married and say the men or woman is trying to traffic them, and they eventually have a kid together, and their end goal is to traffic that kid. So this is the organization that I found to kind of explain my topic, and to they give a lot of good resources on here for human trafficking and just exploited children in general. Their mission is to help find missing children, reduce child sexual exploitation, and prevent child victimization. This company is or organization is ran by Michelle, and she created this in order to help more children out there. I think on the next slide here, yeah, I have some things on here that this website and organization provides to the public. This is just an abbreviation of what the organization was on the last page, but they provide online and in-person classes. They allow for donations. They created a hotline that you are able to contact them if you experience any case of human trafficking. And they help get their message out to the world. So they travel across and the world and talk about their organization and what things that can help for this problem. And there, hopefully, we will get to a solution where human trafficking is eliminated eventually. But as of right now, their goal is to just come up with things to help compromise for as many cases as possible. Um, to the right here, I listed some pictures. The bottom one is actually from one of the classes that they offer. It's just a class that educates you on this topic and what you can do further and how you can look out for signs of human trafficking. And on the top here, these are pictures that I took of the things that they offer on their website. So they even offer, like, if your child is missing, they offer good resources or things to look out for, things to do. They can donate, like I said. They have offices, and they another thing they do on their website is they post cases, like local cases or cases in cities of people gone missing and their parents or whoever think that they're being human trafficked. So that helps get their experience out there, and maybe people can be on the lookout for that person and they're able to help and share and uh, make an end to some of these cases here. So some ways that people are able to get involved, you can even get involved through the organization I just mentioned, but there's a bunch of organizations that are offered for human trafficking. You can become involved in fundraisers, um, just talking about the subject in general. Like, I'm hoping from my presentation, a lot of people will gain a new understanding on this topic and are able to distinguish variations and stuff going on in their own life to help other people realize that also. You can donate to the last organization I mentioned or to other local organizations in your city. And speaking publicly on the known issue is really good. This gets, I'm not saying you have to go out and talk to a panel of people about this, but even maybe, like I mentioned before, to a group of friends, or if something comes up, you're able to know more about this problem and kind of educate them on that. So these are my works cited for everything that I had mentioned. But my overall goal is that people, hopefully after this presentation, will gain a better understanding of human trafficking. I know I did after researching a lot of this, and there was things that I found out about it that actually surprised me. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed my presentation.